So, the beady-eyed amongst you may notice that we're in a completely different setting today. We're in the house. So this is the first sort of introduction I've ever really done in the house, other than when we were building it and I did the CI introduction, which used DYNAUDIO speakers throughout, you know, and the ceilings and whatnot. Yeah, truth be told, I didn't realise that the Focus 10s had turned up until around 1:30, 2 o'clock today, by which time it was too late and it was far too hot at work to get them out, set them up, listen to them and, you know, get a video underway. So I'm doing an introductory video of the Focus 10s. I'm going to show you a couple of things about them, and then what we'll do is further down the line we'll do a review on the way that they sound. I've had them running for a couple of hours now and I'm really impressed with them. It's not often a product like this comes out that gets me that excited, but each time DYNAUDIO seem to come out with a active speakers aren't revolutionary, but truly malleable streaming speakers like this are. Now, I've been using truly active systems for years. All of our automotive systems are genuinely active. Each has its own channel of DSP, each driver, you know, each speaker driver, not each car driver. Each, of course, has to have its own channel of amplification to be able to DSP that, you know. And I often questioned most active speakers. You know, it seemed to me that any speaker you could get that had a plug that plugged into the wall that had its internal amplifier was called an active speaker. There was always a bit of a mix-up for me. Proper active means 1 amp per driver, 1 DSP channel per driver, fully customizable by the designer. You know, there's no control over the drivers if we have 1 section of DSP and 1 amplifier. There has to be some form of network there between the 2 drivers. We don't really want that. We want it truly customizable. So yeah, there's 390 watts per speaker. They're Class D, 280 on each mid-bass driver and 110 on each tweeter. The mid-bass driver is a 14 centimeter MSP driver from DYNAUDIO, so you're used to seeing it. It's the same recipe they've used forever. They say that this one's the best they've ever made in this platform. I suppose we'll find out over time. The Ceratar tech in the tweeter is just really special. We're used to them by now. Confidence, Special 40, you know, all design cues from stuff like that, and they've pulled together all technical aspects of the Zeo, the lid, the core products from the Pro ranges, and they've put them all into this special little package. So startup, you know how I feel. I want it off the ground in minutes. Startup was smooth. It wasn't a few minutes. It was probably more like 10 minutes. I set it up. I was playing music within 3 or 4 minutes, but I chose to do a firmware update straight away, which takes its time. I'll be honest. It's a good 10 or 15 minutes. So I packed the car up with the equipment that you've already seen me remove from my living room. Not because it's no good, just because this is a completely different ethos. It's a completely different way of thinking. So I wanted to hone in on how smooth a look and a feel that a truly active speaker can give you. There's no need for anything else in my system other than these speakers, and maybe if I want my record player back in here, you know. I chose to get the walnut finish for, you know, at work for demonstration. I've brought them home, like I say. They accidentally fit in my living room because there's a lot of American walnut going on in this room. So yeah, they're gorgeous in that. There's something paradoxical, I suppose, or ironic about an original sort of walnut finished speaker, which is finished incredibly well, as we're used to by now, but a walnut speaker and then having all that fully digital technology inside, you know, the logo on the front that lights up against a walnut backdrop. It kind of cancels itself out in a good way. So ins and outs. On the primary speaker, we've got 2 RCAs, we've got optical in, We've got, of course, all the networking that we can do on there. We've got a trigger output, we've got an RCA output for interlinking the speakers, we've got a sub output, and we've got a high pass filter as well. So we can say roll these off at 60 hertz, 100 hertz, something like that, and we can link up a subwoofer and we can overlap that crossover frequency, or we can, you know, butt them together depending on what works best in our room. Okay, 3 settings for sound. So you've got natural or freestanding, so if they're just on a stand in the room. We've got corner loading, or we've got against the wall. I've got them against the wall, so that's the setting I turned on. Or you've got Dirac Live, and you can really get involved with the tuning of your room. I will be doing that in this room, so it's something I want to get my teeth into. We use all of that sort of equipment at work anyway for our automotive systems, so we have all the mics and things like that. I may as well get amongst that in this room, so I'm looking forward to that little journey. The app is seamless to use. Like I say, I downloaded a firmware update straight away. It wipes the speaker from the app, so you need to reset the speaker up. You can be tricked by that because you need to set the speaker up initially for it to tell you that it needs a firmware update. Then you'll update it and the speaker will disappear from the app. You might get confused, sort of wondering about the app, looking for the speaker, but you know, rest assured, just reset up, re-add a new speaker, and it will come back on. You know, if you've done any naming of the speaker or any settings before you do a firmware update, of course it's going to be wiped. We're changing the speaker's firmware. That's how it runs. That's how it knows what to do. So, you know, standard little things like that that might catch guys that aren't too used to equipment like this. You know, just persevere with that. You know, there's always an answer, and you can give me a shout if you buy them from us, of course. So yeah, I'm really looking to get to know these. These have a product called Wisa as well, right, which is wireless transfer of sound between TVs and speakers. So you can run a network of speakers from Wisa enabled products. I was a little bit gutted that there was no HDMI ARC on these speakers. I would like HDMI ARC on everything. Integrated amplifiers, pre and power amps, streamers, proper active speakers on everything. You know, their HDMI ARC is just, it is a godsend when it comes to people that are into hi-fi and also into TVs. In my TV, I run a home theatre amplifier, and I have to run all of my system through my ceiling and mains and stuff like that, and it's just a little bit clumsy and cluttered, whereas with the Wisa technology, my Sony Bravia will be able to speak to my speakers and just transmit audio wirelessly that way. So I'll run that up tonight, and I'll feed that back the next time when I do an actual review of these speakers. But I love it when they come out with a new product, I really do, and this one is proper bleeding edge. You know, this is where I believe hi-fi is going. With the generation that's coming in and the generation that's sort of current at the moment, I believe that this sort of product really is going to start to get a grip soon, because it offers all of that functionality, yet it retains all of the sound that we're used to as hi-fi enthusiasts. So yeah. Anyway, like I've said, they're here. You can come and listen to them at work, not at my house, unfortunately. You know, you're welcome. Just come and book an appointment, or like I say, you know, we can do home demos as well. What we tend to do when we do home demos is we charge, you know, full retail for the product. You take the product, if you like it, you buy it. If you don't like it, you return it to us and we refund you. It's simple, really. So yeah, these are all live on our site now also, so I'll put a link down below so you can get more in-depth detail. I haven't gone too far in this one because it is just an introduction, and in an actual review I'll probably cover more detail on how I would use it, how I would expect other people to use it, and all of the other things that it can do. But you know, it's just crazy. Tidal Connect, Spotify Connect, it can control NAS and local network stuff, Rune Ready, Google Chromecast, things like that. You know, they can do pretty much everything that I and Bluetooth, things like that. pretty much anything that I could ever throw a stick at. And that's far more than what I use, to be fair. I'm Tidal Connect or Tidal through the app. Like that's just how I would use these things, you know. Right, anyway, enough rambling on from me. I hope you've enjoyed my home, and yeah, I'll see you next time. But the focus line is here, and it's really gonna show people how you should do this stuff properly. Alright? Take it easy, guys. I'm Carl.